What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's Jeff Guy here, and in today's video we're going over the Madden 23 franchise updates, or at least what we've heard so far. Not a ton has been released by EA. We know some things. We know that not everything we want is being addressed, but some stuff is being fixed. We're going to dive into everything we know so far, and we're going to figure everything out for you. Make sure you drop a like, comment, subscribe, do all the things to let me know that you want to see this content. So as we all know, EA is making a strong push to increase the quality of gameplay in Madden 23 with the new skill-based passing system, field sense, 360 cuts, new animations. All that stuff is being added, and while that does increase some stuff for franchise players, it doesn't address a lot of our concerns. When we look at the franchise paragraph, it's pretty short in comparison to even Face of the Franchise and Ultimate Team, but let's look at what it actually talks about. Number one thing they mentioned is increases to free agency, which has been my biggest sticking point with Madden franchise for forever. How rigid, uninspiring, and boring, and really cheesy, I guess you can call it, the current system is. It's not fun, and this sounds like it's going to address some of that stuff. Different athletes are going to be influenced by what they want, whether that's location, salary demands, maybe some stuff about your current roster. That's all so important to us as, franchise players and GMs, but also to like the authenticity of the league. You can't just go convince, a Devontae Adams in free agency to go play, I don't know, in Green Bay again because he's clearly doesn't have any more ties to that place. It wouldn't make sense for him to just re-sign there just because he's been there and the team prestige is high and gets them to the 71-point offer. And that first point definitely bleeds into the second one about new player tags, improving offseason activity logic and impacting player progression. Makes a ton of sense. If a player's in a new system, they might have a dip to overall ratings or like a dip to chemistry, stuff like that. And it also definitely is going to influence, where players want to play, where they're going to be at their best, and where teams might value them. Sounds like they did some additional tuning to trade logic. I actually think they made a lot of strides in this area for Madden 22. This isn't a huge point of contention for me personally, but I know some people are still able to cheese the system and do whatever they want. And then they're refining head coach, scouting, staff management, weekly strategy. This is all stuff they implemented in Madden 22 and was fine. Some of the scouting stuff is actually really bad, but the head coaching stuff is good. So it's definitely a balance right now. I'm going to actually dive into Madden 22 currently and what I would hope to see from some of these updates. So here we are in our Falcons fantasy rebuild. This is the one we did a couple videos back on the channel, and we'll have a new video about this week 1 49-24 win over the Philadelphia Eagles. It's a great win for us. But here's the main updates from Madden 22, and here's how I hope they change for Madden 23. So right away, we have our activity screen. I think this is super important. We can continue and improve here. You have your upcoming tasks, you have your upgrade players, scouting, all that stuff should be easily accessible to you. And I think that the activities menu does a good job of doing that. So here we are on the scouting screen. This is actually the area I think Madden 22 took the biggest step down in. Although the scouting system was new and fresh, and it had stuff like mock drafts and scouts and region breakdowns, it became impossible to sort players, to find them based on stats. And actually, like, a lot of people didn't even know that the draft board was even in it. Like, it was taken off, and it's very hard to use in the current system. And you're locked into a lot of your scouting decisions at the beginning of the year when the class can absolutely change, your team needs and projections for your team can absolutely change. And then if you just miss one, you're SOL. So within refined scouting, I don't really think we're going to get a whole lot of changes to the system, but here's some stuff I'd like to see. Number one, once available, I'd love to be able to sort by combine grades, specifically for speed, to see which players are actually out there. If there's a guy in the 5th round that ran like a 4.27 40, the whole league's going to know about them, and it should be easy for us as NFL GMs to find him as well. And the same should go for free agency. It's pretty embarrassing that we can't do that at this point. I'd also like to see listed the players from each school. Teams like the Patriots heavily recruit from Alabama and Georgia. If I'm going to take over and do a realistic rebuild of the Patriots, I'm probably going to want to take an Alabama player, and I can't just, look through 400,000 players to try to find one that went to Alabama. Another point is on the team needs side here. I'd love to be able to set those manually. If I have a lower overall rookie QB that I want to develop, I don't think that should be a team need. And if I wind up simulating a pick or missing some time in a franchise, it's going to be super important that the CPU doesn't use a high draft capital pick on a quarterback when I don't want to play them. I think the screen where you pick your scouts is actually fine. I'd just love to see more in-season flexibility here. Like right now, I have 2 scouts dedicated to researching left outside and right outside linebackers. And if one of my linebackers goes up from star to superstar or X factor development, that's probably going to lower linebacker on my list of team needs, so that these guys are actually just wasting their time going after a linebacker, because I'm probably not going to take them. I just love to be able to change that as my team changes throughout the year. Talent trees are one of the best additions to Madden 22. I think it can get even better in Madden 23. Right now, the process is simple and stale. I'd love for it to be fluid and exciting as your team changes, as the league changes, as a number of things change throughout the league. Right now, once you earn all of the staff points in offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, it becomes super stale and you have those upgrades for the rest of the franchise, and it makes earning staff points kind of irrelevant after like year 3. So making sure that 1, you still want to earn staff points by, offering new things, 2, make them different year over year, and then 3, potentially lose or gain them as your team does well. If weekly strategy were to remain the same, I wouldn't be too hurt by that. Like right now, you do get a view on, Dalvin Cook is currently the Eagles' best player on offense, and then you get a look at the offense, the defense, and you can game plan from there. I don't think that needs to change too much. It's a great addition for this year. Now, since free agency seems to be the big upgrade for Madden 22, let's talk about the current system and how it should be improved for Madden 22. This is the in-season franchise screen. Right now you see, each individual position, their age, overall, the stagnant salary, which we'll talk about, and then all of the attributes. And then as you change positions, these attributes become position specific, which is great. I'd love to see this screen in the actual off-season franchise screen, which instead of, a very detailed and specific way of laying out all of the players, you actually get a really convoluted way of viewing them, and you can't tell who are going to be the best fits on your team, who are going to be the best values, because you have to scroll and individually look at every single player's stats. It's just not an effective use of your time as a Madden franchise player, and it's a negative experience overall. I'd love to be able to look at each player, click on them, and then go into a screen that shows their offers, potential interest, some of the stuff that we've talked about earlier on in this video, like athlete motivations, team locations, stuff like that, and then go into the actual salary negotiation. And another thing I'd like to change on the in-season franchise menu is the static salaries here. I'd love to be able to negotiate them, both in terms of the salary and the length. Specifically, if I want to sign like a veteran to a 1-year minimum deal, I can do that, but I can also sign a younger guy to a 2 or a 3-year deal within this screen, and I don't have to wait until the next offseason to do so. We'll be breaking down every major update for Madden 23 franchise on this channel, so make sure you subscribe, comment, like, do all the things, and let me know what you guys want to see when it comes to Madden 23.